Catherine Chrisley Schreiber, and I founded and operate Dharmahorse Equine Sanctuary and Herbal Stable Yard. We are a holistic horse care, animal care, and human care facility where we work with animals, especially horses and humans, to create a bond in a non-toxic environment, meaning that we don't use chemicals, that we don't have aggression in our interactions with the horses or with other people. So, talk about healing with plants. We do all of our good health maintenance and our healing of any kind of problems with phytotherapy, which is the use of plants, which is like using the herbs themselves and the essential oils from the plants and flower essences. And we believe that like allopathy, which is use of the synthetics and the sort of medical model, allopathy tends to look at the symptoms and attack them with an arsenal. And we believe more in, you look for the cause, the underlying cause. We believe that good health is the natural condition, and we nourish it with everything we do, from diet and fresh air and not using lots of chemicals and toxins around the horses. So those herbs for good health, we are an herbal stable yard. The herbs for good health maintain, treat, and support the horse on all levels. And we extrapolate that into our own lives. My husband Mark and I live an herbal life as well. We grow all the herbs we can here in New Mexico for our own use, and then buy what we can organically. We are devoted to phytotherapy, and then that's like our first line of defense and of care. And then if something gets where we do need to bring in the allopathy, the medical model, then of course we do. We need painkillers sometimes. We need the steroids sometimes when there's a snake bite, the toxic spider bite. But we believe that those are the things you go to later. There are kind of three ways of looking at healing. And there's the scientific model we're talking about that, sees you attack the symptoms. And there's the heroic model, which kind of uses herbs the same way. You look at what you want to have happen, you find the herb that will do it. Then there's the wisdom way, which is sort of our foundation, which is you nourish everything. You nourish the land, the place where you live. You nourish all the animals on it. You nourish yourself. You keep away everything that's toxic, and then you're going to have a much better chance of being healthy. A sanctuary for horses. That's what we are. We're Dharmahorse Equine Sanctuary, and Mark and I run this ourselves with the incredible team of volunteers and the tribe, the village of people that come here. They tell me they get just as much out of being with the horses as we figure the horses get from them. We heal each other in all directions. And the peaceful intent and the peaceful atmosphere here is meditative, is nourishing in itself. So it's a big part of it is the energy that is permeating everything at Dharmahorse. Using movement to release trauma is something that I had talked about, and I want to elaborate. I fell through a window as a child and severed my hand, except for the bone, which cracked but didn't completely come loose. Everything had to be put together, back together again. The tendons, all the vessels, the veins, the nerves, and it was a miracle that my hand survived it and that my hand worked at all. But what happened was that I had weaknesses, and I recognized that I would never be a massage therapist for the horses. I studied the chiropractics, but I wasn't able to do a lot. So by feeling this kind of limitation that I tried to overcome all through my life, I realized that the things that healed me were things like yoga and dance and the movement brought the body more into balance in the similar way to, say, the acupuncture, the acupressure, the massage, the chiropractics would. Movement is therapeutic. And so I see that horses always need exercise. That's one of the most important things for them, is to keep moving. They're designed to be in movement 20 hours out of 24. The horses need to move, and that we can take all of the things that the stretching, the things that help us, that we use for our own bodies, and kind of bring them to the horses. The stretching, the running out and getting the cardio, the exercising the lungs, exercising the heart, the circulation, all of this is so important. Moving the lymph through the system, the lymphatic system is what clears out the toxins. That health comes through movement. And in the dressage, in the old style dressage that I grew up in, you can use movement to heal things. I learned that shoulder in can support a stifle injury, and I could bring the horse along without having a surgery done to release the locked patella, that by using the shoulder in, I could help the horse strengthen, that using haunches in would strengthen the front of the horse. These are things that were profound for me to learn, because it was kind of aligned with the way I had to cope with my own body. Our definition, our devotion to non-aggression is really important for us at Dharmahorse. We see things like the toxic assault on the weeds that we don't want with an herbicide, the toxic assault of going through the whole property with an insecticide, the aggression of all of it as so detrimental to every living thing here. We believe in using things that repel. We mix our fly repellents when we can, and the only thing that we go to that's pretty harsh is the pyrethrins made from chrysanthemums. And when we're in dire straits, we'll do that because the horses need to be protected. But we will use neem oil in the kitchen to keep the ants off of the cabinets. And the neem oil is something that you would use to brush your own teeth. So it has this very non-toxic thing. That is to be without aggression toward all the other creatures. To be aggressive toward a horse, to me, is just unconscionable, and it's not tolerated here. There is never a reason. We can be firm with them. We can have boundaries. There is never a reason to attack another living being. So everything at Dharmahorse is based on non-aggression, is based on supporting health, not attacking anything. And so in some ways we seem so different in that philosophy, but my heartfelt belief is that by living it, we set an example, and as we continue, that idea, that frame of reference will expand out into the world. At least we hold it dear in our world. There was a horse that came to the neighborhood. This is now in the 2000s. This was 2011 or 12. I have bought this place, this lovely place that's now Dharmahorse, that is our sanctuary, but it wasn't at this time. I was teaching lessons, I was trying to make a living, trying to take care of horses and rescuing them, even though I was not actually a rescue here. And then there was a horse that came into the neighborhood to a fellow who didn't know anything about them, but this sweet horse Strawberry, he was riding around. He was absolutely not a good rider, absolutely green, didn't really know how to take care of him, but did the best he could. I watched this brilliant, sweet spirit of a horse just take care of everybody. So a couple of years go by, and I realized that Strawberry's not there. This fellow had moved, and this little bay, sweet gelding, just wasn't anywhere to be seen. I find out later that he had been sold to another neighbor, which was in a little cubbyhole area where I couldn't see well. One day driving home, I saw a skeletal horse back in the corner under a tree, and realized it was Strawberry. And
this precious being full of love and light was a skeleton. So I got a friend of mine, I called him, who lived up on the mountain from me, because I knew I wasn't going to deal with whoever had done this to this horse well. And so my friend Jer came, and he went and talked to the man. And this man was an alcoholic and was not even cognizant of what he had done. But we got Strawberry out of there. I spent that night before Strawberry came, I had no place to put him. It started pouring rain, and I hung a drop light, and I built a pen as best I could for this horse. In the morning, Jerry got him, my friend, because there was no way that I was going to be able to deal with that man, as I said. We brought Strawberry over, got him into the pen. A vet friend looked at him, and she said that she had never seen a horse in that condition that was still alive. Neighbors came and helped. At one point, Strawberry felt like he finally could rest, and he lay down. And that was the last time he lay down. We had the fire department come to try to help get him up. We had people, it would rain intermittently, and the sun would come out that next day. For 48 hours, my entire group of friends, people that would hear about on Facebook, was talking about what was going on. For 48 hours, we all just stuck with him. I could not get hold of a vet at that point during that time, and we were so worried that he would be dehydrated. We had tarps over to shade him, keep the rain off. When it got cold, we'd cover him. It was just this New Mexico weather that can go in all directions. We started squeezing watermelon juice into his mouth, and we kept him hydrated. By the time a wonderful veterinarian volunteered to come up and help, because he'd heard about it, we had the horse hydrated. But it became, trying to keep him alive was not in his best interest. So for 48 hours we loved, adored, cared for Strawberry, and then let him go. But he touched me on such a deep level that I realized, once again, that was just his precious vehicle that he now was free of. But there were so many people with horses with no understanding of how to take care of them, and horses that get into such dire straits that there's nowhere for them to go. Began everything here at that point, that Dharmahorse, that what we were doing here was going to be to help teach people, to do as much educational outreach as possible, from writing for international magazines, to writing for the local newspaper, to putting out cards that told people what horses require, that it's important that they have water, food, shelter, hoof care, tooth care, all of these things. Unbelievable that people would not know that, but that started it. Strawberry became like the catalyst for so much here, and my life is dedicated to helping these horses as much as I possibly can.
This is Sage, free lunging. He came to us from a loving family with soundness issues. The free lunging helps him keep from stressing his legs and his hooves. He can find his own way around the circle. The other horse is an Irish draft horse named Lungta. It means wind horse in Tibetan. Lungta was bound for slaughter, and he lives here now in sanctuary, safe from now on. This is Vega. He was 41 in this video. He lived to be 42. We often use this video to show why we kept such an old horse alive, because he has joy. He lived here for 7 years. We chopped his hay and soaked it because he had no molars and was unable to chew his food. And with that kind of care, he was able to live a long and very healthy life all the way up until the end. We euthanized Vega as the final act of kindness when his body just wasn't working for him anymore. He was a blessing in our lives, an amazing soul. And here is pure joy. This is Luna. She had been starved almost to death twice before she was 3 years old. She lives in sanctuary now, will never leave sanctuary. In 2019, Dharmahorse bought property where we were able to build the track system we had been envisioning for the horses for years, with shelters, feed stations, water stations, mineral stations, enrichments like scratching brushes, things to play with, a herd life where they can interact and live as natural a life as possible. It's an ongoing project. The islands created by the track itself are where we intend to plant trees and bushes when we can to provide shade and windbreak for the horses. We've put in a water line system, having water hydrants at every corner of the property. We have a quarantine pen because when a horse first comes into sanctuary, they have to be quarantined for 10 to 14, maybe 30 days, depending on their circumstances from which they came. And then we find out if they can live in the herd or if they're going to need their own separate pen with shelter. There's turnout always in the giant round yard from which we can feed the horses, work with the horses, see them. The design really worked. There's the infirmary barn, a wonderful addition that has been used more than we would like, but is just a blessing and a miracle when a horse needs it.